Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man spoiler review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. We're talking about episodes 6 through 8 in spoiler fashion. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie and TV show reviews, out of theater reactions, movie franchise rankings, and every Monday, a box office show. So if you like any one of those things and you love talking movies just as much as I do, subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. Get us to 300 subscribers very soon. That would be awesome. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man as we are at the second to last week? Next week, we'll get the final 2 episodes of season 1. So what are your thoughts on season 1 so far? What are you liking? What are you not liking? Any big predictions for the finale 2 episodes? Let me know. Love talking your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man with you. Also, please hit that thumbs up button as that's how you support this channel. So overall, I've talked about this in my first, what is it? Yeah, 2 videos watching the show. I've really enjoyed watching your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and that absolutely continued with episodes 6 through 8. This is a really bright surprise, in my opinion, where yes, this show clearly has its MCU tie-ins, and we have both Daredevil in episode 6. We get General Ross into the show. We get the Sokovia Accords, Captain America Rogue talked about, Iron Man in episode 8. So there's obviously tie-ins to the MCU. This having no, as of now, major consequences to the main MCU, I think is what's giving its show its freshness, its originality, more than just having to fit into the main MCU. Now, some people are going to say, well, if Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige are making this, why are they making a show that has really nothing to do with any continuity of the original things? But you're allowed to tell things that don't connect. There are their own stories that include Spider-Man. Obviously, all these storylines in this show, Tom Holland's Spider-Man can't be doing. He's already obviously seen Daredevil. He was a part of Civil War. Obviously, he's not in this show. They add really good nuances from our knowledge of the main MCU, and they kind of throw some twists and turns of what this Spider-Man would fit into that. And I have found that to be really enjoyable. But really, yes, have the superhero stuff been cool on the show? It has the costumes, this or that. The best part of the show, and by far for me, has been the human storylines that they have gone with. Peter's look at himself in society. Where does he stand? Him needing a mentor, and you can see in the main MCU why Peter needed Tony Stark. Not that he didn't need Aunt May, but it was helpful in his superhero life to have a mentor like Tony Stark. And here he has Norman Osborn as a mentor, but that obviously is not going great because the opposite. Tony told him in Spider-Man Homecoming, if you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it. This is all about how the fact that Norman's basically telling him in these episodes, you're actually pulling your punches, you're holding yourself back, your opponents are trying to kill you while you're just trying to injure them or just not do anything to hurt them in any major way. And so these are just all just bad messages. And this is why this idea is a really good one for a show. Tony Stark was the perfect mentor at the perfect time for Peter Parker. Norman Osborn is going to be the wrong mentor at the wrong time. But not just is the Peter and Norman dynamic really strong on the show, but Harry and Nico got a lot to do in these 3 episodes. Harry, by accident or not accident, after, Peter set them up to hang out, Harry tells Nico that Peter is Spider-Man. She really doesn't believe Harry that Peter would hold a secret like that and not tell his closest friend. And, Harry would know that. But obviously Nico sees that Peter was lying, and she's kind of thrown off. That's where we get the Harry and Nico stuff in episodes 7 through 8. They kind of have a spark to them. It looks like more than friends, which I think is really a good idea here for the show. You have 2 not outsiders, but Nico's certainly an outsider, and while Harry in the mainstream is not seen as an outsider, he's like a rich son with millions of followers on social media and things like that. He's again someone who never had any friends. They kind of, his family basically alienated himself from society, isolated himself away from society to be just a homeschooled kid under Oscorp. And Harry having both Peter as a friend and now Nico is kind of blowing his mind that you can have friends and do this with friends and things like that. So I found it to be really enjoyable what they did with Nico and Harry. Harry's become a really complex character because he's obviously caring a lot about Peter and Nico, but he doesn't all the time disagree with what his dad is trying to instruct Peter to do. But also, we have, of course, Lonnie as well as Pearl. Just a lot of good human stories here. Yes, there are superpower stuff. We have Scorpion. We have Doc Ock. We have Peter Parker. We obviously have the Green Goblin, Daredevil, a lot of things going on. And I'll get to that towards the end here. But this kind of turn of Lonnie being this really set up for success type of guy, girlfriend, was more than just the high school football quarterback jock. I had more going on in his life, and he wanted to be there for the people in his life. But the moment he's become Two Stone has not been good, and it really wasn't good when he had his confrontation with his brother Dre in episode 6, where basically, Lonnie Fee's like, I basically did that for you. I have so much to lose, but I'm not giving up your life. And then Dre did not seem that grateful that Lonnie stood up for him and took his spot in the 110th. Dre's like all this stuff, like I've always just been known as your brother, and you even took that away from me in that moment. It got really tense, very serious, and I mean they're yelling. It didn't make no sense why the parents wouldn't be able to hear that. That's a minor nitpick because they were literally just in the other room talking, and he walks up the stairs and they're just like yelling about this. It didn't make a lot of sense that the parents would not know what Dre and Lonnie were talking about. And Lonnie goes, forget about it. And he stays with the 110th that night. Even when Pearl shows up at the 110th, yeah, he is like full on defending he goes in to fight Scorpion at full Scorpion power as he got the powers from Otto. And if it's really good fight, actually, before we get to that big fight, we did get Daredevil in episode 6 fighting Peter. That was the Daredevil who is voiced by Charlie Cox, obviously the Daredevil who his new show hits Disney Plus, Daredevil Born Again. Next month, I'll be breaking down each and every episode of Daredevil Born Again. So definitely stay tuned for that, everyone. But we got the Netflix theme, but definitely again another new suit. And the fight between Peter and him was really cool. Clearly, Peter doesn't have his Spidey sense because he was either shocked that Daredevil saw that coming because he wasn't acting like he could see stuff coming. So I found it to be really a compelling fight. The music was good. It was a perfect addition to the show that didn't overcrowd the show. But again, with this show and a show that I'm covering right now, Invincible, when they know they have these multiple seasons, again, this show has at least 2 more seasons. It's basically almost shot or almost done completion on season 2 already, if not mostly done. And then season 3 will be starting later this year, production. That they don't have to have everything wrap up in this season. There's obviously big stakes, as we saw at the end of episode 7 into episode 8, but they have left the breadcrumbs for more things to happen in the next season. Now that obviously Peter and Scorpion do have this major fight though in the middle of episode 7, and Peter's suit gets penetrated. Norman turns off the mic at a bad time. Obviously Norman doesn't really care about Peter or Spider-Man. He's using him to get to Otto Octavius. And once Peter gets into real trouble, he's not there for him. Then we see Norman's gone, so obviously he is somewhat the Green Goblin. We didn't see him in the Green Goblin outfit, but we saw the glider take Peter back, and when they showed Norman's office, he was gone. So I think they're telling that he was there picking him up, but they waited. I think that could be the very ending of the show is now setting up for Peter versus Norman either next season or in season 3. But Peter is just beaten up, and he got his ass kicked not just physically by Scorpion, but mentally by Norman. Basically says, you're not doing enough. All these questions are weak questions. And then he almost dropped the big line of Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. But Norman tells him in episode 8, with great power comes great respect. And I thought that was a really good and unique twist of the original catchphrase. You've seen it done again. It was done very well by the Sam Raimi film in 2002. It was done very well in No Way Home when Aunt May dropped the line. That was another unique twist on the original catchphrase. And this was a really good twist because, again, it's not Tony Stark telling him or Uncle Ben. It is Norman Osborn, and the show clearly knows that you know that he's the Green Goblin. And as someone who's a Spider-Man nerd, who read most of the comics, does a lot of the watches every single movie a billion times. That it rewards you for being a die-hard Spider-Man fan like myself, both comics and just in the movies or shows. So I really appreciated that. Then we get, obviously, Lonnie fully commits to the 110th, which has been very sad to watch as Tombstone has taken over. We end episode 8 with Harry's the one who gives Peter his new suit, which is the new Oscorp, but it finally looks like the red and white Spider-Man, red, blue, and white Spider-Man, because Harry said he saw the doodles that Peter was making and put that onto this new design. So I'm very excited for this next episode. We also saw Iron Man in episode 8, because obviously he was on Ross's side of the Sokovia Accords back in Civil War. I gotta love those MCU Easter eggs to know where we would be in the actual MCU. But again, this feels like its own thing. It's very unique. I'm very entwined in what's going on. The downfall of Tombstone, and yeah, as I said, the superhero stuff is very good on the show. The action, the look, the actual callbacks, the actual characters in it. It's awesome. But for me, what's really keeping this show really great, in my opinion, is the human storylines. Peter, Nico, Harry, Pearl, Lonnie, Norman Osborn. There are so many human stories going on without superhero things needing to happen. And I find that is why the show so far is as good as it is. So I am thoroughly enjoying your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Next week, sadly, we're already there. It's the last 2 episodes. I told you back in episode, and the first time I broke it down, they were releasing 10 episodes in a month. We had 2, then 3, and now this week we had 3. So next week I'll be back giving you a full spoiler review of episodes 9 and 10 of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.